National Assembly to be inaugurated on the 13th of June. That's what we're focusing on right now. Less than 24 hours to go, and there will be lots of activities just right there at the National Assembly. So let's get some more insight into this. It's been a long, drawn journey, I must tell you. Just a few weeks, but it feels like a long time. We're joined by Mr. Adamu, Garba, former Deputy Director Media, Tinubu Shetima Grassroots Independent Campaign. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Mr. Garba, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Good morning, Kayode and the team. Thank you for having me.
I know, today is Democracy Day. There's been the speech by the president, lots of reactions, but there's another day, which is a main day, maybe for lawmakers, it's their own Democracy Day anyway, which is tomorrow. And you've been following this trend. You're right in the middle of it. You've reported on it. I saw a tweet you put out just some hours ago about a certain meeting that happened and how some senators have said they will support, the anointed candidate of your party. But it's been said, Mr. Garba, that if the election were to be a secret ballot, then the anointed candidates of your party would not make it. But if it were to be open, a lot of people would just want to save face and vote for the anointed candidate, which means that maybe the preferred candidate of your party is not really preferred at the National Assembly, particularly the Senate.
You see, Kayode, usually in a situation like this, there are always speculations about support of a particular candidate, especially in a context of democracy, which is actually part of the beauty of democracy. You have option A and option B, and all of them are contesting for the same position. We should expect that the opposition will always try to plant a story that will be to their advantage. But of course, it is wrong. As you said, I posted in a tweet, I was actually even in that dinner where the senators were there. Personally, I counted about 62 senators endorsing distinguished Senator Akpabio and distinguished Senator Barrow Jibrin for the President of the Senate and the Deputy. And again, cumulatively, we have about 75, because some of them have registered the reasons why they are not around, they have not been in Abuja, and some even very critically say that they just don't want to show face because they have friends in the other camp. So the whole thing, again, is that if you look at it, we have a comprehensive support from the Senate about the presidency, the contest of Senator Akpabio. Why? Because there is this high trust in the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Tinubu, and you can see just recently from the Democratic Day speech, you just mentioned that, he once again reiterated the fact that he has entered into social democratic contract with Nigerians, and that he embodies the struggle to build the democracy we have today, and that he has demonstrated significant preparedness, readiness, competency, and ability to drive Nigeria from where it is today to where we all imagine it to be, that will benefit all Nigerians in just the past 12 days.
Right.
So everybody is queuing behind the party's choice and the president's choice. The president did not just choose Akpabio just by sheer pointing finger. And this man, Akpabio, was a commissioner after serving in a bar for 30 years. He became the commissioner in his state, became a governor, became a senator, became a minister, and now again aspiring for the Senate president after returning as a senator.
Well, you should also add,
Mr. Somebody having this kind of capacity over time,
right,
built up of responsibility, and himself a name of an uncommon transformation governor in Akwa Ibom State, and then we now come back and say that maybe he's just anointed, but some people don't want to follow him. I think it's just a story that is planted by the opposition, which is not gaining ground.
So speak to this then. I mean, you forgot to add that he also stepped down for the president at that convention, and a lot of people say that's what was also factored in. But so why then, if the party is so confident, if this is, as you claim, being planted by the opposition and all of that, why is your party then, whipping people who don't seem to be supporting the preferred candidate? Why is it whipping them into line? Why are you and when I say you, your party, then saying, you must do this. Why not allow everybody to choose freely if you think that, well, this preferred candidate is indeed capable and enjoys, the support of members of the National Assembly?
No. I think if there is anything called whipping, I think it could be a misconception. The party, APC, is one of the most collaborative, most consultative party we have so far in Nigeria. Everything that happens within the party is consultative. Most of these senators are being asked to look into the future that we are trying to build that will benefit Nigerians. To look at the program of action, the promise of delivery of Tinubu administration in the Renewed Hope manifestos, and how it should be driven. And we should also look at the trust matrix that you have been discussing here since morning. That is not so much in Nigeria, and there is need for us to renew the hope of Nigerians by injecting trust into delivery of our services, that Nigerians will continue to trust us. And you can hear again from the president's speech that he highlighted very clearly that painfully Nigerians should be patient more again and sacrifice more so that the government can pay them in infrastructure, healthcare, education, and excellent service delivery that will benefit every Nigerian.
Mr. Adamu.
So if we reach a point at this stage where we are seeking the trust of Nigerians, it is important for us to have a National Assembly that is complementing the effort of the executive,
Mr. Adamu,
that is going to work with the executive based on mutual obligations and reciprocal commitment that will help in driving this agenda so that we can continue to deliver what we promise Nigerians.
Mr. Adamu, I doubt that you're addressing the question. What my colleague Kaide seeks to know is why the party is trying to whip into line those lawmakers elects that are not supporting the party's choice. And, if we must address that wholly, we recall the senator who appeared on our sister program yesterday saying that he was in fact called by a friend on his way to our studios in Abuja and told not to go but to appear via Zoom, that senators who are not supporting the party's choice are being targeted. So why is the party targeting those who are not supporting, members-elect who are not supporting their own choice for the office of Senate President and Speaker?
Wemimo, I think I have addressed that question. I told you that this could be a story that is being planted by the opposition senators, and it's usually expected because some people are not supporting the choice of the party. So it is free that they must exercise what they feel they can, and to advance a cause of maybe a story that will show as if they are being whipped in line. But we can see what is evident. The president
have evidence?
All the senators elect, regardless of the party,
Mr. Adamu,
discuss with them about his program of action and the need for them to continue to support the government.
I
don't see the president carrying maybe a whip to try to tell them you must vote for my candidate or I'm going to deal with you.
Mr. Adamu,
this is just a story.
Mr. Adamu, yes. Do you have evidence that the story is being planted? That's on the one hand. And on the other hand, recall that the president had addressed traditional rulers and told them to appeal to members-elect who are vying for key positions to manage their ambitions.
It is fantastic. The president is trying to say, let us have order. Let us have rancor-free National Assembly. Let us have smooth takeoff of this government that Nigerians are yearning for. We do not want to have a situation whereby we have activist-driven National Assembly. This is the country that has been practicing democracy since 1999. We have built up a history of service, a history of commitment, that we need a mutual relationship between the executive and the legislative so that we can continue to drive the government agenda. It's not yet time for us to be having a kind of an activist National Assembly. It's time for us to have a complementary National Assembly. And what the president is saying is simple. Come together, let's work together, let's build this country. Let us not disappoint Nigerians. Let us not repeat the experience of 2015 and 2019, where even to pass a budget became a very difficult challenge to the government. That's what the president is saying. And the president chose the most competent of the senators. Senator Akpabio and Senator Barrow are some of the best you can get.
Well, Mr. Adamu, just a second. There are a number of people who will have their own issues. They will have their opinions as far as they are concerned about who is the most competent or not, but that's for the senators to decide, or the members of the House of Representatives to select. But one of the issues for a number of people would be as you said, the APC is, been on since like 2014 or thereabout. And there are those who would wonder, why at this time, after 8 years in government, we still have this kind of rancor, such that the interests are still so strong. The president of the national leadership of the party, including the presidential candidate and president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the part of your party, has been unable, so to speak, to carry everybody along, as you say, in politics, in such a way that everyone would say, okay, if that's the way the party is going, then that's the way the party should go, and every one of us should just line up. There are those who would question the communication of this ideal of your party to the contestants, to the members of your party who are in the National Assembly. Would you say that that's an issue, or is just one of those things that happens in politics?
Frankly speaking, all the things you said are those things that usually happen in politics, including even the president choices, and of course, or I can say the party choice. The party's choice is in line with the agenda that the government is trying to push for the benefit of Nigerians, and the party is expected to grandfather stewardship in how we can have a rancor-free legislation that can work in tandem with the executive to deliver the promises of Nigeria. So a situation whereby we have this kind of confusion in the Senate, and then we have some tendencies of rebellion against the executive programs, we may not really get it right. And we should also look at the competencies and the capacities, as I mentioned. It goes back to
that same question, Mr. Adamu. Just 1 second, if you can hear me. It goes back to that issue of whether or not there's just a second. It goes back to that issue of whether or not the carry along has been quite significant or significant enough to sway these agitations. But then also speak to the fact that the president spoke with traditional rulers one way or the other, directly or indirectly, asking them to weigh in on the leadership of the National Assembly. How far-reaching do you think that can go in the scheme of things?
I think, to the best of my knowledge, everybody was carried along, and I was part of the stability group as part of the media operations and coordination within the campaign, and we have moved to many places. We were in Lagos, we were in different governors' houses, we were in different senators' houses, including those that don't agree with our choice of candidate, Akpabio and Garba. We were also there. We visited them. Consultation was done extensively to traditional rulers, to different interest groups and major stakeholders of the party about this choice. So I don't understand where the issue of consultation is coming from. And the president's appeal is not altogether disconnected from his grand plan for Nigeria. This is for the first time we are having a president that embodies the true substance of democracy. And that is why you see, despite all the challenges we have in this country, Nigeria has now cooled down. Everybody is bringing a lot of trust to the president. And the president said, no, this is not the end of the game. We need more. We need a better National Assembly to work with. We need the better leaders, especially the presiding officers of the National Assembly, to work with me so that we can drive this agenda. We are not saying that we are going to dictate to them what they should do, right, because there is already several laws that has been passed, several acts that have become law, with over the period of 24 years, that you don't expect any activism to play. There are institutional framework that guides the process of relationship between the executives and the legislation. So it's not the time where we need to be, beating the kind of table and be saying we don't agree in the National Assembly. It is time for us to work together. So the president is appealing to traditional rulers. This is the time for us to build Nigeria. Let's work together. Let's come together. Let's do this for Nigerians. Let us put our personal interests aside and look at the larger interests of ordinary Nigerians that are looking for us for leadership, that are looking for us for direction, that are looking for us for delivery. We shouldn't be, you should go back to your constituents and see how you can appeal to your senators and also senators-elect to come together with us so that we can deliver better service to Nigerians. And this is perfectly in line with the program of the president based on renewable motivation. So I don't think it's a bad thing in democracy. I think it's a very good thing.
Right, and just to buttress the point, we had invited someone in support of another candidate who clearly said, well, I don't think I can come anymore because of those issues we had raised with you. And also, I hear that a lot of people in the YPP still have a grouse with you you for abandoning them after raising their hopes or renewing their hopes and going back to the APC. But we'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Adamu Garba, former Deputy Director of Media, Tinubu Shatima Grassroots Independent Campaign. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you, Kayode. Thank you for having me.
All right. So lots of mails have come in, really. And I see a lot of people telling us where they were on June 12. Chikuji Augustine saying, I was still in my mom's womb.
I saw that coming.
I saw this one from Mike Paul saying, it was my final year in the university. I remember I came out to vote for MKO on the election day and was basking in victory until the shock. That's Michael Isoa. Lots of mails, really. Thank you so much for sending them. So let's get into more of them.
Oh yes, and this is our concluding moments on the program here this morning. Your tweet, we have just 3 of them to look at, but a good number of them you will be able to see on our Twitter handle, Sunrise Daily Now. This one is from Honorable Ademola Alade, who says, no one is saying Senator Akpabio is not qualified to be the Senate President, and the APC has suggested him to lead the Senate. But members of the National Assembly should not be coerced to vote a particular candidate, but be allowed to freely choose their leaders.
More scrutiny on that candidacy, but hey, we must wrap up the program. This one is coming from Oshinowo Kinsley, and he says, the suspension of the CBN governor is in order. Public fund was wasted, Nigerians were put through untold hardship, and businesses crumbled. He should be investigated, and if found guilty, he should face the music. And
the question will be, is it in order with the law, in order with the sentiments of people, in order with what, Oshinowo Kingsley? Let's do a rider tomorrow, right? And HKSA has this one. I earnestly hope that we will not continue with the arbitrary jungle-style arrest of citizens by the SSS in this new dispensation. I really hope that the SSS is not acting on its own in the arrest of the CBN governor.
Well, that's much of the program we can take today. Thank you so much for the privilege of being a part of your morning this Democracy Day. I'd like you, if you can, to renew your commitment to Nigeria. Google the National Pledge. Read it to yourself. Amaya Makinde, have a wonderful rest of your day.
I hear it's a really tough question for some people to recite the pledge. But hey, we have a full package for you right here on Channels Television. So stay with us. We're here with you all day. I'm Kayode Pikelu.
And whether you recite the pledge or not, remember that democracy allows for expression, and don't invalidate the expression or the position of anyone. Thank you for letting us being a part of your morning. I am Bukola Koka.